Every year, tens of thousands of Tibetans gather in Bodh Gaya, India, to celebrate their wisdom tradition in a 10-day ceremony of prayers and chanting for universal peace. This is the World Peace Ceremony, which takes place at the most sacred site in the Buddhist world, where the Buddha reached enlightenment more than 2,500 years ago. Here, thousands of copies of traditional Tibetan texts are distributed to schools and individuals, to monks, nuns, and lay practitioners from all over the Himalayan region. Over the last 18 years, over 2 million books have been given away here, representing the largest gift of books in human history. The Tibetan Aid Project is dedicated to supporting this crucial effort to restore Tibetan culture, which came perilously close to extinction in the last century. The living wisdom traditions of Tibet have developed as unbroken streams of practice and realization, passing from teacher to student for more than a millennium. Making the sacred texts available today is essential to this ongoing transmission. Wrapped in its splendid isolation and mountain beauty, Tibet was an ideal setting to evolve a way of life focused on spiritual transformation rather than material gain or worldly power. Guided by the sublime teachings of the Buddha, the Tibetan people cultivated and maintained a civilization based on profound insight and devotion to the welfare of all beings. The fruits of this ancient civilization were almost completely lost in 1959 when Tibet was invaded and destruction swept through the country. Tens of thousands of Tibetans, including many great spiritual teachers and practitioners, fled into exile. Fewer than 15 out of more than 6,000 monastic and teaching centers were not razed or severely damaged. The Tibetans lost everything: their loved ones, their land, their traditions, and their beloved teachers. They have done their best to rebuild in exile, but to this day their economic and educational resources remain extremely limited. Books in Tibet have traditionally been considered to be sacred. They're treated with the same reverence as great works of art. They're never stepped over or put on the ground. In the past, because of the painstakingly slow process of copying books by hand or from woodblocks, texts were extremely rare and were reserved for the sole use of scholars and advanced monastic practitioners. Today, with modern technology, the Tibetan Aid Project and its sister organizations have been able to make these valuable teachings available on a much wider scale than ever before. No other organization is working to preserve Tibet's sacred literature in this way. In fact, some of the texts being given away at this ceremony are not available at any price anywhere else in the world.
This gentleman is going to carry his hometown because his life he never saw Pajuna Paramita, only he heard in monasteries, but this time he got just free.
The book distribution project is also helping to democratize education in the Himalayan region and to re-establish Tibetan libraries in exile. Thanks to the availability of these treasured texts, literacy has been increasing across all segments of Tibetan society, especially among women. Traditionally, Tibetan nuns were limited to non-scholastic activities such as prayers and chanting. Today, nuns are studying philosophical texts. For the first time, some are earning advanced degrees. Since 1969, the Tibetan Aid Project has been supported by donations, staffed by volunteers, and led by the vision of founder and Tibetan Lama Tarthang Tulku. Over the course of several decades of quiet, sustained effort, a few dozen committed volunteers have provided essential resources for hundreds of thousands of Buddhist practitioners and helped to rejuvenate hundreds of libraries throughout the Himalayan region. The donors and volunteers who make this project possible are working together towards a common goal of bringing greater peace and understanding into the world. They share a vision with the people of Tibet to transcend national boundaries and religious distinctions and to preserve, strengthen, and transmit the universal values of compassion and wisdom, not only for the benefit of the Tibetan people, but for all humanity. You can help. Thank you.